Plan your trust strategy. Learning objectives. After completing this unit, you'll be able to create a risk profile by assessing AI risks for your project. Implement guardrails based on the risk profile. Get started with trust. AI comes with certain risks, so how do you know your AI solution is ethical, safe, and responsible? By creating a trust strategy. Your project's trust strategy is your plan for mitigating risks to trust, such as keeping sensitive data secure, meeting regulatory requirements, and protecting your company's reputation. The first step in defining your trust strategy is to create a risk profile for your project. A risk profile informs how you manage and prioritize a project's risks. It covers the type and level of risks, how likely negative effects are, and the level of disruption or costs for each type of risk. An effective risk profile tells you which risks to prioritize.
Areas of risk. Answer questions in 3 main risk areas to create your risk profile: data leaks, regulatory requirements, and reputation harm. As an example, see how Becca answers these questions for her project. Risk area: data leaks. Description: data leaks happen when secure information is accidentally exposed. It can happen because of cyber attacks, unauthorized access, and exposing sensitive data to external AI models. To prevent data leaks, store your data securely and make sure only authorized users can access it. This risk area also includes protecting sensitive data, such as personal identification information, PII. Questions to ask: what are opportunities for data leaks in your project? What sensitive data are you using? Becca's response: Becca knows that Coral Cloud has a secure system for data storage. However, her project includes a human in the loop, or a human interaction, where someone triggers the check-in process by telling Einstein to check in a guest. Becca sees that there's a chance for data leaks here because the executing user can find out where the guest is staying and for which dates. That's dangerous information if it's leaked to an unauthorized person. Becca's project includes sensitive data such as full names, contact information, and credit card information. Risk area: regulatory requirements. Description: make sure your project meets the legal requirements for the jurisdiction and industry you're operating in. If you don't meet all regulations, you could face fines, reputation damage, and other legal repercussions. The legal team you identified in the first unit can help you identify and meet all regulations. Questions to ask: what regulations does your project need to meet? Becca's response: since Coral Cloud operates in the EU, Becca's project needs to follow the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. Becca reaches out to the legal team to ask them to research what other regulations she needs to follow. Risk area: reputation harm. Since your AI project is interacting with your customers, it represents the company's voice. AI can sometimes generate harmful or untrue responses because of dataset toxicity or technical attacks. Questions to ask: if your project performs poorly, what's the impact on your reputation? Becca's response: if the AI-generated welcome emails include offensive language, Coral Cloud will be seen as insulting and unfriendly. They'll lose valuable current and potential customers. In the hospitality industry, Becca knows reputation loss is a serious problem.
Create a risk profile. Based on her evaluation of the different risk areas, Becca creates a risk profile for her project. 1 represents a very low risk. 5 represents a very high risk. Risk type: data leaks. Level of negative effects: 4. If data leaks, guest safety and privacy is harmed. Likelihood of negative effects: 3. Coral Cloud's data is stored securely, but other controls should be put in place to further address this risk. Disruptions or costs: 4. Loss of customer trust. Risk type: regulatory requirements. Level of negative effects: 5. Coral Cloud faces fines, other legal consequences, and loss of customer trust. Likelihood of negative effects: 5. If Becca's project doesn't meet regulations, it's very likely Coral Cloud would face negative consequences. Disruptions or costs: 5. Legal consequences, fines, and loss of customer trust. Risk type: reputation harm. Level of negative effects: 5. If Coral Cloud's reputation is harmed, they lose potential guests and profit. Likelihood of negative effects: 4. Becca needs to refine her prompt and implement other ways to protect against reputation harm. Disruptions or costs: 4. Loss of customer trust. Based on the risk profile, Becca decides to prioritize regulatory requirements first, then reputation harm, then data leaks. She begins planning how to manage each risk. Types of guardrails. Now that you know your risks, implement AI guardrails. AI guardrails are mechanisms to ensure your AI project is operating legally and ethically. You need guardrails to prevent AI from causing harm with biased decisions, toxic language, and exposed data. Guardrails are necessary to protect your project from technical attacks. There are three types of AI guardrails: security guardrails, technical guardrails, and ethical guardrails. Security guardrails. These guardrails ensure that the project complies with laws and regulations and that private data and human rights are protected. Common tools here include secure data retrieval, data masking, and zero data retention. Secure data retrieval means that your project only accesses data the executing user is authorized to access. For example, if a person with no access to financial records triggers a response from the AI model, the model shouldn't retrieve data related to financial records. Data masking means replacing sensitive data with placeholder data before exposing it to external models. This makes sure that sensitive data isn't in danger of being leaked. Model providers enforce zero data retention policies, which means that data isn't stored beyond the immediate needs of the task. So after a response is generated, the data used disappears. Technical guardrails. These guardrails protect the project from technical attacks by hackers, such as prompt injection and jailbreaking, or other methods to force the model to expose sensitive information. Cyber attacks can cause your project to generate untrue or harmful responses. Ethical guardrails. These guardrails keep your project aligned with human values. This includes screening for toxicity and bias. Toxicity is when an AI model generates hateful, abusive, and profane, or HAP, or obscene content. Bias is when AI reflects harmful stereotypes, such as racial or gender stereotypes. As you can imagine, that's a disaster. Since AI learns its responses, toxicity and bias could be a sign that your data is introducing unwanted language and ideas to your model. Toxicity detection identifies responses that might have toxic language, so you can review it manually and make adjustments to reduce toxicity. Now you know what guardrails are and how they protect your project from risk. Next, look at how Becca implements guardrails in her trust strategy.
Coral Cloud's trust strategy. Implementing your trust strategy looks different depending on the system you're using. Since Becca's using Salesforce, her trust strategy is built on the Einstein trust layer. The trust layer is a collection of features, processes, and policies designed to safeguard data privacy, enhance AI accuracy, and promote responsible use of AI across the Salesforce ecosystem. When you create a project with Einstein generative AI features, such as Prompt Builder in Becca's project, the project automatically passes through the trust layer. Becca defines a trust strategy that addresses each risk area using features in the trust layer. She also visualizes the desired outcome. Here's an excerpt from her trust strategy. Risk area, data leaks. Becca's trust strategy. Prevent unauthorized users from accessing protected information. Protect guest names, contact information, and credit card information with data masking. Features in the trust layer. Secure data retrieval and grounding. Data masking. Outcome. Users without access to reservation details can't use the prompt to access reservation details. Sensitive information never enters third-party LLMs. Risk area, reputation harm. Becca's trust strategy. Use system policies to tell the AI solution how to behave with unexpected prompts. This protects the solution from technical attacks that encourage it to generate incorrect or harmful responses. Features in the trust layer, prompt defense. Outcome. Technical attacks don't work because of the prompt defense policies. For example, if a person not in Coral Cloud's system tries to check in, the AI solution won't generate a response. Before Becca finalizes her trust strategy, she meets with her legal and security team to make sure there are no gaps.
Next steps. With a trust strategy under her belt, Becca's done planning her project. She's ready to begin the build stage, where she'll implement her project in Salesforce. Keep following Becca's project and connect Data 360 to Agentforce and Prompt Builder. As you build your project, keep in mind that mitigating risk isn't a one-and-done task. After you implement your project, monitor and audit your risk on an ongoing basis. Monitoring helps you identify problematic trends early and make adjustments. Review toxicity scores and feedback to identify where your solution went wrong and make adjustments to eliminate risk factors. Summary. This module explains the vital steps when preparing for your AI project.
Now you know how to identify project stakeholders, set goals, and choose a technical solution. You understand how to prepare high-quality data and meet your project's requirements. And you know how a trust strategy mitigates risks for your project and why it's important to monitor risk. With your new knowledge, you're well on your way to launching a successful AI project. Before you start your rollout, be sure to complete change management for AI implementation.